Hello and welcome back to Prep Alpine, the next generation UPSC series. So, as you all know, that we have started a high yield UPSC series where we discuss some of the most important topics which have the maximum probability of being asked in your UPSC prelims and mains exam. These topics have been selected by experts of the field who have already qualified this exam and who have a large experience with this examination, and therefore these topics are not only high probability topics but also high scoring topics which will give you an edge over other aspirants. And today's topic is one such. So, what if I tell you that the cities that you see across the world, for example, New York, or for example, you see Arizona, these kinds of cities are now going to be developed in India? Yes, you heard it right. The Union Budget of 2025-26 started an Urban Challenge Fund. Basically, it initiated or announced an Urban Challenge Fund, and recently the Union Cabinet has approved an initial amount of 1 lakh crore for this Urban Challenge Fund, and this brings us to a new phase in urban financing. So, we all know that urbanization is the driver of economic development. You cannot expect development without urbanization, and therefore, the government has been taking several steps to increase urbanization in India. So, this Urban Challenge Fund focuses on three major sectors. The first one is cities are to be developed as ग्रोथ हब्स. सो हाउ दे विल बी डेवलप्ड एज ग्रोथ हब्स? तो यहाँ पर मोबिलिटी की फैसिलिटी दी जाएगी, इंडस्ट्रियल कॉरिडोर से इंटीग्रेशन किया जाएगा और सिटीज जो है वहां पर इकोनॉमिक क्लस्टर्स बनाए जाएंगे. तो जब ये चीजें होंगी तो सिटीज में एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगा तो इनकम बढ़ेगा और इनकम बढ़ेगा तो फिर डिमांड इंक्रीज होगा, कंजम्पशन इंक्रीज होगा, एंड दिस विल इन टर्न क्रिएट अ साइकिल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. Secondly, it focuses on creative redevelopment. The things, the infrastructure that has already aged, the buildings, the systems that have already aged, they will be retrofitted, they will be renewed, brownfield renewal will be there, and legacy area modernization. The areas of the cities that have been legacy of the cities, they will be modernized. And lastly, it will focus on water and sanitation. It will focus on climate related, climate resilient infrastructure. It will focus on sustainable water management, water supply upgrade, as well as sewerage expansion. Only then can we say that the three pillars of a good city, that is economic growth, legacy area, and climate change or health and sanitation, all the three are taken care of. So the objective is to create resilient, productive, and inclusive cities. And how will it be done? Through climate responsive and sustainable infrastructure, market based urban financing, financial capacity and credit worthiness of the urban local bodies will be strengthened. And lastly, we have shifted from grant based financing towards challenge based reform linked financing. Initially, the government used to give you grant, doesn't matter whether you do development or not. But now you will have to compete for that grant, and that grant will not only be given by the central government or the state government, you have to compete for that grant in the market. जैसे private players जो हैं वो अपने लिए grant के लिए compete करते हैं, बिल्कुल वैसे ही यहाँ पर अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज जो हैं वो अब मार्केट में जाकर के compete करेंगी. स्ट्रक्चर की अगर बात करें तो 25% अप टू 25% यानी 1/4 ऑफ द फाइनेंसिंग जो है वो सेंटर के द्वारा किया जाएगा. 50% फाइनेंसिंग अप टू हाफ ऑफ द फाइनेंसिंग जो है वो मार्केट से लिंक्ड होगा, और लास्ट का जो 25% है वो स्टेट और अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज जो है वो देंगी. प्रेजेंट में एलोकेशन की अगर बात करें तो 1 लाख करोड़ का एलोकेशन जो है वो किया गया है, लेकिन 5 ईयर के पीरियड में 2025-26 से 2030-31 तक इसको इंक्रीज करके नियरली 4 लाख करोड़ कर दिया जाएगा. So what will happen that this is a competitive challenge based approach and the cities will now compete for funding, और जो सिलेक्शन होगा वो डिपेंड करेगा आपके रिफॉर्म क्रेडेंशियल्स पे कि क्या आप रिफॉर्म ला पा रहे हैं या नहीं ला पा रहे हैं, और दूसरी प्रोजेक्ट की वायबिलिटी पे, कि कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो लॉन्ग टर्म में उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा, ये सारी चीजें जो है वो यहाँ पर नोटिस की जाएंगी। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस 5,000 करोड़ का एक क्रेडिट गारंटी सपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म जो है वो भी सेटअप किया जा रहा है ताकि जो बोरोइंग से रिलेटेड रिस्क हैं उनको हम ओवरकम कर सके। इम्प्लीकेशंस क्या होंगे इसके, तो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट पे जो बर्डन है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट पे जो बर्डन है वो घटेगा। सिटीज का फिस्कल डिसिप्लिन, क्योंकि सिटीज अक्सर डेट में रहती हैं, अपने फाइनेंसेस को ढंग से मैनेज नहीं कर पाती हैं, तो सिटीज में फिस्कल डिसिप्लिन जो है वो एनकरेज होगा। म्यूनिसिपल मैनेजमेंट जो है वो और ज्यादा बढ़िया होगा। एंड लास्टली म्यूनिसिपल बॉन्ड इकोसिस्टम जो है वो डेवलप होगा लाइक द सिटीज ऑफ द फॉरेन कंट्रीज. So this whole urban infrastructure fund has a potential to develop cities into growth hubs with mobility, connectivity, industrial corridors, economic clusters, investment friendly infrastructure, as well as sustainable development linked architecture that will be linked to health and sanitation. But obviously, there are problems related with this scheme. First of all, the problem is that the cities have a weak financial management system. The urban local bodies do not have experience with managing finances, and therefore, that is weak among them. They have a lower efficiency when you talk about property tax collection, then that is also not very efficient. They have very limited experience with municipal bonds. Only recently have some of the cities started with municipal bonds. So if you expect smaller cities like in tier 2 and tier 3 cities to generate municipal bonds and to gather revenue from that, so that is kind of very difficult, and the poor credit ratings of smaller municipalities makes it more difficult. So this has a risk of creating regional disparities between larger cities and the smaller cities. The larger cities with better tax collection efficiency, better financial management system can compete more, will have the more probability of being granted finances than the smaller cities. And for economic development, we cannot just focus on larger cities. We need to have equitable development between the larger and the smaller cities. And lastly, it also poses a potential financial stress, fiscal stress for the urban local bodies, for the government as a whole, if these finances are not managed properly. So now comes the question ki what is the way forward? So the way forward is that we need to strengthen modern municipal financing system, whether it is related to enhancing the property tax administration or modernizing the accounting systems or standardizing financial reporting practices. All need to be encouraged in the urban municipalities, urban local bodies, whether it is large municipality or a small municipality. Secondly, there needs to be capacity building. The officials of the urban local bodies must be trained in fiscal management and project structuring. They need to be trained what they need to do to be a part of this urban infrastructure fund so that they can compete for funds. The expertise in public-private partnership that has to be trained. Long-term municipal governance reforms must be institutionalized. And lastly, and most importantly, we need to enhance accountability. And how that can be done? So citizen participation can be promoted in planning. Transparency in borrowing and spending should be introduced, and talking about climate adaptation, so it should not just be linked to infrastructure related to this urban infrastructure fund, but all the infrastructure projects, whether it is a pond, whether it is a hospital, whether it is a school, everything should be related to climate adaptation. Only then can we say that in real terms सही मायने में cities जो है वो growth hubs की तरह act कर पाएंगी for economic development of India. So this urban infrastructure fund is definitely a step towards modernizing cities in India to make cities act as growth hubs, because urbanization is the first driver of economic development. But this needs to be supported by governance reforms, fiscal discipline, and capacity building measures so that the spirit of cooperative federalism, which is a part of our basic structure of the constitution, strengthens, because urban local bodies are the drivers towards economic development of India. So that's it for this video. If you want more such content, please subscribe to the channel and keep watching Prep Alpine. Thank you.